Every successful business has a secret weapon, and it's probably not what you think. It isn't always some genius CEO or a massive marketing budget. It's data. But here's the catch. Raw data on its own is pretty much useless. So today, we're going to talk about business analytics, the art of turning all those messy numbers into a clear guide that can help you solve puzzles and make way, way smarter decisions. To really get this, let's start with a puzzle. Picture a world where there's a bubble tea shop on pretty much every corner. How does one brand manage to not just survive, but totally crush it? The answer isn't some secret tea recipe. Nope, it's something much more powerful. Okay, let's dive into this with a real-world example. We're going to look at Tea Live, a huge bubble tea brand over in Malaysia. They were facing this exact problem, a market that was just flooded with competition. So what did they do? They turned to data to find their edge. So by digging into all their sales data, Tea Life started to see some really fascinating patterns emerge. They found a clear rush hour happening every day between 3 and 6 p.m. They learned that their customers in the city were all about that brown sugar tea, while folks in smaller towns stuck to the classics. And maybe most important of all, they realized their mobile app was basically a loyalty building machine. And this, right here, is the key. This is what separates a fun fact from a game-changing insight. Tea Live didn't just look at these numbers and say, neat. They took action. They brought in more staff for that afternoon rush, they created marketing campaigns that were tailored to local tastes, and they started pushing personalized rewards for their app, turning one-time buyers into absolute regulars. The whole Tea Live story is just a perfect example of what we're talking about today. It's about that journey from just having a giant pile of data to having real insights you can actually do something with. And that journey, well, it's powered by business analytics. So let's make sure we're super clear on this difference. Think of data as just a pile of bricks. It's raw, unorganized, just a bunch of numbers, clicks, and text. By itself, it can't do much. Information, though, that's the finished house. It's what you get when you organize those bricks to answer a real question, creating something that's genuinely useful. Maybe the best way to think about it is like this. Analytics is the bridge. It's the process that gets you from that chaotic island of raw data over to the solid ground of clear, actionable information, the stuff you can actually use to make a confident decision. So at its heart, business analytics is really just that, the process of using data to make better decisions. The formula couldn't be simpler. You take your raw data, you add some analysis, and what you get are actionable insights. That's the core of this whole thing. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Well, you don't just dive into a spreadsheet and hope for the best. You need a map. A really great one to follow is the SOAR model. It's a super simple framework for turning your questions into answers. SOAR stands for Specify, Obtain, Analyze, and Report. Just think of it like a 4-step journey. You start with a really clear question, you go out and gather your raw materials, then you dig in to find the story, and finally, you share that story with others to make something happen. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, with step 1, specify the question. You're never going to find an answer if you don't know what you're asking. A vague question gets you a vague analysis, but a sharp, focused question like, what actually makes our customers stay loyal? Well, that gives you a clear target to aim for. Next up, step 2 is to obtain the data. And listen, this isn't just about grabbing whatever numbers you can find. It's about getting the right data and then cleaning it all up to get rid of errors and junk. The quality of your final insight is completely 100% dependent on the quality of the data you start with. Step 3, analyze, is where the fun really begins. This is the discovery phase. You kind of become a detective. You start by looking at what happened. Then you dig a bit deeper to figure out why it happened. And then, here's the really cool part, you can even start to predict what might happen next. And finally, step 4 is to report your results. Because look, an amazing, mind-blowing insight is totally useless if no one understands it or acts on it. This step is all about communication. It's about using charts, dashboards, and even just good old-fashioned storytelling to make your findings clear, compelling, and actionable. Now, this whole 4-step process, it's not just for a special team of data scientists. The real magic happens when analytics becomes a tool for everybody, solving problems in every single department of a company. Just think about it for a second. The marketing team can finally know for sure which of their campaigns are actually driving sales. The finance department can spot financial risks before they become huge problems. operations can find that one hidden bottleneck in the supply chain that's slowing everything down. It's the same method, just applied to different, really critical puzzles. But really, beyond all the tools and the four-step models, the most important thing to take away from all of this is about adopting a new way of thinking. It's about developing what we call an analytics mindset. And this mindset isn't just one thing, it's really 5 habits that all work together. It all starts with curiosity, just always asking why. It takes data literacy so you can actually understand the answers you find. It demands critical thinking so you question your own assumptions. And it needs collaboration and a strong sense of ethics to make sure you're using it all responsibly. This isn't some rare personality type. It's a mindset that anyone can build. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Let's forget about big business for a second and just think about your own world. What's one question you have about your job, your studies, your fitness, anything that a little bit of data and analysis could help you answer? The tools are out there. The mindset is something you can build. The only real question left is, what will you ask?